Beautiful people. This is a very special episode. Episode, I believe, 37 of the podcast. Now, for those of you who fuck with me on Twitter at Kingbo Christ, shameless plug. You guys know that I like to really get in tune with the underground world. I like to get in tune with the streets, right? So if you're around for the interview with a scammer, which I told people was going to be part one because I knew I'd be back at this very moment. We're back again. And not with a scammer, though. Not with a scammer. I'm here with, we're going to call this Drug Dealers Anonymous. Okay? Because I don't want people, and the same, it's a little different from the scammer, because scamming is what it is. But listen, the government sell drugs. So, I could have, I don't know, a pharmacist on the other end of this line. And I don't want people to look at it in a negative way, but we're going to get into that. So I want to introduce the world before any further delay to Trap. Trap, say what's up to the people of the I Say That to Say This podcast.
What's up? Thank you so much, King.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on the show. And we've been talking about this for a while. We've been trying to do this for, I don't know, a pretty good time now.
Well, yeah,
But we're finally able to get it done, and a little bit later than it was supposed to happen. Because for those of you who listen to the podcast, Unc be making a bunch of fucking noise. So we were supposed to do this Friday, but I had to pack up shop because it was too much.
Yeah, Unc had it lit.
Yeah, he had it too lit. He had it lit for a Friday night, but not podcast. Because the people know I like to really give you the best quality show, and that shit was all over the place. So we had to scratch that. And there's always going to be more drugs to be sold. So here we are back again after midnight. You know what's crazy about this episode? I normally record like early at 9 o'clock or whatever. But something about this just felt like it had to happen after midnight. It was very strange.
Yeah, it's a perfect time actually for me. It's a transition time, right? So
that's a fact.
Time.
And for the people listening, also before we really get into the serious shit, I don't want you to ever think that you're better than anybody. So when you hear Drug Dealers Anonymous, don't go and shake your head, okay? Because the clothes on your back, if you look at where they're made, trust me, you're not better than anybody if you buying that shit. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of shit it's a lot of fucked up shit going on in the world. And where I think I want to start is how do you feel that the state, we'll even start with California and work our way over to the best coast. You know what I'm saying? But like California, I was there this past summer, somewhere around here. I have my medical license.
Mm-hmm.
And even a prescription for this here greenery that I got going on. How do you feel about a state that sells weed and collects tax money off weed, but still has people locked up for selling less amounts of weed?
Well, it's bad, but at least it's changing. And it's like you can't knock it. That's how it was. It's changing now. So you got to go with the flow and try to, make sure you don't get wrapped up in none of whatever new laws and stipulation they about to put on all of that shit. So you just gotta really, really, stay out the way as much as possible with that stuff. Like you can't sit here and say, all right, it's bad. Niggas is locked up. All right, niggas is locked up for weed. All right. But now, your man's outside, he should be able to find a way to get the weed easier and not have so much risk. Like, you just gotta look out for those that's in there. But you can't really.
Is it
really
harder?
Say nothing about it. Like my personal opinion was like you can't really say anything about it because that's just what it was then.
So you got to just move past it. Like you accept it as part of the game. Like, look, at that time they was doing quote unquote illegal shit. They got caught. The world changed, but they still got to pay their dues.
Right. That's what the time was right then. Like you can't say, oh well, it's bad. Let's just free everybody or whatever have you. Like, it's not that simple. It's not that easy. You know what I mean? Like, just to say something like that, but, you know.
See, I actually like that you said that because like, in my mind, I'm like, yo, man, as soon as they was legalizing that shit, they got to just start letting people go. But you do make a valid point. Like, it was, what you were getting into. Don't think
right.
that, like,
It
why
was
would I be
fucked up.
that
The numbers is fucked up and how much time and all of that shit was real fucked up. And, us as a community got the raw end of the deal with that as well as any other drug that they try to do anything with. We always get the raw end of the deal on it, but you can't just do that coming from just the whole, like, the flip side of that. Like, just imagine that. Okay, yeah, it's a lot of like little instances. Most of these instances, I really see you say people was locked up for it, but depending on certain amounts of stuff like that, like, now you paying fine and you leave that shit alone, or you go about your business. Like, what else is going on that you're really locked up for weed?
True.
Like, so I try to keep this shit like that too. Like, a lot of these times I see this shit all the time though. Like, you get pulled over, you got a bag of weed on you. Like, okay, you got pulled over 4 times. They might send you for a couple of days. Like, how much time we really talking that niggas is locked up off of weed? What was you really doing? Like, it can't just be like petty, like how the common consumer uses weed. Like, they're thinking like that, and they're gonna get all this time for all of this stuff. Like, nah, this.
Right, and the people I was talking about that's locked up for weed got caught with 110 pounds of some crazy shit.
Yeah, that's a major operation. That's a whole deal right there. That's different.
Shit, if you had 110 cartons of cigarettes, your ass is going to jail across the state line. So that's
you can't,
that is true. I just, what? See, I have this like this admiration, or I don't know what the word is, for the bad guy. Like, I just love to see the bad guy win sometimes, and not necessarily, when I say bad guy, like, I don't look at weed dealers as bad. I look at, well, listen, I don't want to say all drug dealers because shit gets tricky, but we're gonna get into that in a moment. But, like, I don't look at weed dealers as bad. Like, what the fuck is a weed? I'm talking about a regular, not like a low level weed dealer, mid level weed dealer. What the fuck have they ever done wrong? You know what I'm saying? And I know
they could be doing a lot wrong just to be at that mid and low level. They could be out here killing niggas, hurting niggas. They could be doing a lot just off of weed at that. Yes. It gets real crazy. Like, I like to tell people, because I've been in a lot of places, I did a lot of things, but everywhere is not a major city. Everywhere is not New York. Everywhere is not Miami. Everywhere is not these thresholds in the game. It's a lot of things in the sticks. And there's a lot of things that go on for that spot. Like, it's crazy off of weed. Like, the weed is crazy. Like, it be like that. It don't just be off of.
That's true, because at the end of it all, if it comes down to $1,500 and somebody feels like they're willing to kill or die for it, it has happened over less. It could happen over $100. So, true. But I just look at weed as like such a happy drug. Like, and not even just to be cliche, but like, if you go in to buy some weed, I guess not from the dealer's point of view, but like a person like me, if I'm going to buy some weed, the last shit I'm trying to get into is some violence. Like,
it's some bullshit. That's right. You just got, and like,
but like, if my weed dealer was too aggressive, I would just tell him to have a nice day. Like, all right,
he wouldn't be your weed dealer. You know what I mean? But sometimes as a dealer, like, the person that you're dealing to might be too aggressive for you. They're not a good customer for you. So, it goes both ways. So, like, me dealing with you, that would be perfect for me and you. Because it'd be like this, like, you wouldn't be coming across like that. I wouldn't be coming across like this. But sometimes, especially as a female, this game, like, whoa. Even against other females, it's like, damn. Like, I have to, man, even be. That's why I don't even try to play on a level like that where I come across too much.
Now, let's get into that also. All right, and how does it feel to be like seeing a female drug dealer is crazy, right? I know one of the greatest of all time, one of the greatest to ever do it, Griselda Blanco.
Rest her soul.
Rest her soul. was one of the best to ever do it, but she was a hard nose. Like she wasn't she
Ruthless.
was with the shits, to say the least. You know what I'm saying? So being a female drug dealer, like how does it feel? Do you feel like you have to keep that same energy, like you have to really be more intense, or you just do you? Because I know you was cool, but I don't. You never sold me any drugs, so.
Right, exactly. You know, this, that, and third. But not on not like running around like she was, but that's the standard step. Like just to know that you gotta be ruthless. Like you have to be ruthless like that because everybody's gonna try you or test you. But if you have everything that everybody's looking for, you treating everybody fairly. Like everybody should know to eat and have fun. Like so, as a female in the game, like I really try to keep it real tight. And female drug dealers, the females actually running the game on the law. A lot of niggas is staying in their cribs. The females is running the fucking game. There's a lot of females running the game for themselves out here too. That run game on the nigga and then get they start up any way they can. Like I know a lot of I call them trap queens too, like 'cause they do the shit. We all do different shit though, but it is what it is. Like it's a lot of females.
How
Like
did you how did you get your start in the game?
my shit was crazy. It kind of just fell into my lap, and it really did just fall into my lap. And I was ready for it. And once it fell in my lap,
It was on
I
for me.
showed and proved. Like, yeah, I showed and proved what I had to do. So everybody just fuck with me after that. It was a lot of people up for the task at the time. Like, I made sure that I was the one with the task. So I just did it and did it like that.
Did you when it fell into your lap and you say you were ready for it? Did you plan to do it, or did it just happen out of nowhere?
No, it
And
was an
and
opportunity
and for
that
the
just,
for the listeners, I want you guys to know that we talked about this episode for a long time, and it was only right. The trap wore a ski mask to the interview. We talked about it before Kodak Black. We talked about it before Kodak Black. It's only right. So I just wanted
that's
to
a
point that
fact.
out.
We trade ski mask pictures though. Don't get it twisted. Don't act like we didn't though. That's
No, that's a
that's
fact.
a little hood code. We traded pictures. Remember that. You feel
That's a
me?
fact. Like I had to throw out a throwback Thursday. Like, listen, you never forget where
Yes.
you came from. I had to scare.
Y'all niggas see bitch in the ski mask and get scared though. Shout out to
But
them.
so seriously, so did you feel like you wanted to do it? So when did you hit the ground running?
At first, no, but it's like cause I'm not from where I'm at. You heard? So it's like I got tossed in the middle of the mix, and at first I didn't want to, and it wasn't even like my inner circle that made me do it. Like randomly, people who started running down on me, like not young people, like old people started running down on me, like, hey, your guy do this at the third, he missed that, he did that, da 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 da, and it's like, whoa, like you need this, like you need this, and if you need it, I got it.
And then, so also, you being where you are, do you see? Is it? Well, we'll say it's a tourist city. Okay, so
Right.
you feel like it's that constant flow. Like if you sold weed in Manhattan,
No,
it's that
it's not.
constant flow
It's
of
a
new people, or is it the same customers, like in your neighborhood?
I don't serve my community. Period.
I respect
So
that in a weird
no.
in a weird way. Like,
Yeah,
like,
right.
I mean, I don't mean in a weird way, but like that makes sense.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I get you.
So it's like it's a different type of tourist town. It's not like Times Square tourist. It's real seasonal thing. So like wintertime, like that shit'll shut all the way down, and you gotta just keep the local shit cool, but you try to keep it constant too, like and not let nothing get out of hand because everybody's like trying to eat. But when it's like on, it's on. So It turn up over here, like we get an influx of people. It'd be like a million people just out of on one day like this here. Like, so I'm definitely out and about there. And I got it lined up already. Like, I'm not even wasting my time. I save that for the young ones. Like, let's go, let's get it like this. And my team roll with me, and we do what we gotta do. Especially some shit major coming to town. That's why I don't miss nothing that comes down around me. Like, like a show,
Oh, so you got to
convention,
like when,
whole
like
bunch
when
of
Killer
different
Cam
shit
used to say,
around.
"You got it in Ohio." So sometimes
There
you got to
you
go. And you know what's crazy that I want to talk about also, and Paid in Full. And these movies are based off fiction, and there's real people behind these. So I really look at them like this is really someone's story. And me, obviously, just being a fan of just life, I really, I get to try to get to the bottom of it. But in Paid in Full, and movies like, well, Belly, I don't know if Belly wasn't based off a true story, was it? I don't think so.
I don't think so neither. Well, it could
I'll just use it as an example.
Niggas like too.
But they knew, like, in order to really get to that next level, we got to go OT. We got to go out of town. So is that, so if you were just doing it in your community or whatever, and I'm just saying for the regular person, not you, and you felt like you needed to go to that next level, do you have to go out of town, or I guess
I have to go out of town to supply this? Like, I have to go out. It's not a self-sustaining situation. So I have to go out of town, like, and let somebody out there who's like-minded like me eat for real.
And how does that link up? Like, see, because I think I was talking about, I forget who I was talking to. It was like a club owner or some shit. And he was talking about like, I like to go to different cities. So I asked him the same question. Like, how do you pick the place? Do you know somebody, you have to know somebody there?
Yeah, well, you can make yourself known anywhere. What you trying to do? So it's like, if
Jay-Z talked about that
like,
900 Hustler. He talked about meet a chick, start going around our town, see who's doing what, let them know you set up shop. And I was like, oh shit, I guess that makes sense.
That's right. That's true though. That's why the best place to go when you get into a new town is the strip club, like, well, this or that. Especially you try to get a drug trade going, like, that's where you would go because the girl knows who to get the drugs from. It'd be a 1-2 step for you to figure this shit out. So it's like,
that's crazy. So I see, I never, when I ask these questions, which I also, it's just crazy. I'm like legit, and for the listeners, they know this is the first time I've ever asked these questions to you, Trap. And we've talked a couple times. I really never, I like you for you. You're a cool person.
Oh, thank you
I don't
so
care
much.
what you do with your extracurriculars. Like, like if that's how you get money, and you have good morals, which is most important. So I know, and like you said, you don't serve your community. When you said that, it made sense. I was just like, all right. Like, I'm not saying it's right. And it's like, oh, well, all right, you serving somebody else's family. I'm not saying that makes it any better. But, like, I understand where your morals are coming from.
That's something. Thank you so much. I do appreciate that you see that. So
like, when I ask these questions, I'd be genuinely curious. You know what I'm saying? So, and
that's what's up.
I always say also, I treat it like I met you in a bar. So I feel like I met you in a strip club, and I'm asking you, and you, because I'm that type of guy. If you ask me, and like if we sat next to each other, and you'd be like, oh, I would be able to tell you was doing recon. Like, I'm like, wow, I would know you just set up shop before you told me. So, so I would ask, like, where you from, what you do. So
yeah, and
it makes sense. To go, you got to know anything, though. It's not even with just drugs. If you was looking for anything, I guess you go to where it's at. And the strip club.
Right. You got to make yourself seem like it's just like that. Like, I hang out with a lot of guys and stuff like that. So even if I go somewhere new and I'm introducing to a lot of guys, whatever, I'm trying to find the girl they talking about because that's the hottest girl in town. And if she know these niggas, she knows a group of niggas just like this. And so if she knows these niggas are saying her name on the level where I'm meeting them at, then I need to know this girl because she knows a couple other groups just like this and we could get some shit together. Like, so she's like, I try to check like that though. That's why it's not like a real recon, like, you know, like a thing like that, like, you know, because I'm in two things. I make myself available. You know, I like to say I do odd jobs for odd people, but I make myself available to, you know,
that's funny. I like that.
But I need to be available to and stuff like that. It puts me in a lot of situations. So it's just like, okay. But, you know, it's always good to, that is a good thing to swallow. That's what I do. I'll see you at the next strip club. You know, next town over.
And my interview with a scammer part 1 with the credit card scammer, you can go check that out on YouTube. Or I never put that up on the actual podcast. I just kept it on. It was a Twitter exclusive for a while because it really just happened when I was live. Like I was just same way. I was just talking to someone and I was talking about doing a podcast and I was like, you know what? They do that shit on Nat Geo. You know what I'm saying? If you go to Netflix, they got series like Scam City where some white dude goes to a different country or a different place.
They got on the Viceland channel.
Yeah, right. Viceland.
I was going around and doing all of that stuff too.
So I like to bring that to the world that's most familiar to me. Like I like to bring that same thing because it's the same. To me, it's really the same thing. And you can, whether you like it or not, I always want people to learn something. Like if the people click on this because they're like drug dealers anonymous. And they click on it like, what is this shit? And like, oh, I can't believe this person. So like, whether you believe it or not, you just learn something. Like whether you believe it or not, you have to look at the world. You open your mind up to the world. And maybe when they hear you, they hear like, you're not a bad person. You're not, I don't know. Like you have good sense to you. You're not just, you're not.
I'm not out here wilding. I'm not out here.
You're not out here like acting like a Chief Keef video. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
no. Like, see, that's entertainment, and a lot of people don't understand that. That's why I like to be involved in that world too, because like you know, you come around me, I want to be the one so that you're not driving dirty or flying dirty or whatever. That when you come to town, you call me. You know what I mean? You know I'm cool. You know I'm legit. So you're gonna call me. And that's the difference between like the whole, you can't do that. Like if you be violent like that, like you bring so much problem to yourself. Like it is really crazy to me. Like when you have like a known trap house or whatever the fuck have you, and you constantly having niggas calling the cops at your crib because you just won't turn the music down.
You're just
or some dumb shit like that.
You're a bad business person at that point.
You out here just, yeah, but it's like the shit be all cool and like until when like everybody's locked up. It don't make no sense. Like all you had to do was turn that shit down. You know what I mean? Tell niggas, you know.
And you know, like the odd jobs for odd people that if you go, when I go to Jamaica, I've never been to Jamaica, so, but I know it's gonna happen when I go there. But when I go to DR, which I've been obviously, when I go to Mexico, which I've been however many times, if you walk down the beach, there's a guy who got it. You know, like there's a guy who's sitting there and he's like, yo, you looking for something, bro? And if I was looking for some weed in DR, it's going to be some trash, but I could get some, you know what I mean? So,
but see, I'm the one like, oh, I know you going down there. I'm trying to do that shit for you before you get down there. Like when you get down there, try to have it ready or somebody waiting for you before you even get to your hotel. Like,
wow, so you know you're like the Uber for drugs.
I try to do whatever the fuck it takes. Like it's like the Uber for drugs, girls. Like that's anything. Like you want to go here, you want to go there. Like okay, girls too. Girls like to give it.
Oh, so so if this just got more interesting to me. So if a guy was coming down to, if he was going to LA, we'll just say, and he was like, oh, but I'm gonna want some arm candy. I'm gonna want to be, I'm gonna want a girl with me while I'm out partying, living a nightlife. You could get him like an escort for the week.
Yeah. I
Jesus
show them
Christ.
what I have on my hand. Like, I'm gonna ask them cash or credit. And if
Holy
it's
shit.
credit, I gotta charge you an extra 6% for fees. I'm sorry, but after that, everything will be all right. And and the girl is gonna perform. Like, she's gonna be on for you. And like, I like to make a personal relationship with people like that, especially business travelers and people like that. Like, oh, what do you like? What just at the third? Oh, like, and just you find out, and all I gotta do is let the girl know, and tell her don't fuck it up because I got the money when you get back. Like, so off
See
you
that,
go.
and see, listen, escorts go for, so those shits go for like 200 a night, 300 a night. That's a lot of money, and it's not.
That's not a night. No, not here.
Oh,
No,
oh wait, more?
that's actually depending on who or what it is. That's an hour type of. Well, about half of that an hour, depending on what. Like, depending on
Oh,
what's
this is
going
the
on.
shit that the mayor got indicted for in New York. I forget his name. What?
Hey, I don't know the nigga
Oh,
name either,
yeah,
but
he was on the front of the paper with an escort service. And listen, this is
them is
we're
high
not talking
class.
about. We're
That's
not
high.
talking about
That's
like
racks are better. Like, and there's a lot of girls out here that can pull a
racks
rack.
are better.
Yes,
Shit, I
that
see.
can pull a rack or a rack easily in a couple hours, just depending on what's going on. You
And
know.
listen, we're not talking about like sex services. This shit is you're gonna have to. I'm gonna be honest here. You're gonna pay for pussy either way. I gotta
Right.
keep it a band with you. So if you're gonna go out and listen, if you because there's a lot of sexual assault shit in the atmosphere right now. Like, I don't know. Can you even talk to women anymore? So you might as well find someone who's just willing to take $250.
That's what I said
A
about these
mutual
guys here. They
understanding. Like,
might as well
she's happy
hire
too. Like,
some, educated escorts to work in the office. You understand? Some educated escorts because they are around. Like, they work in your office that don't mind and they know better. Like,
because some people.
but it's a lot of guys. I'm not gonna sit here and sound anything like that because a lot of times some will come across creepy. So as good as I make it
True.
sound, trust me, it's a double down on a lot of crazy, nasty.
True. And that's true. Like, and the crazy shit is, we talked about the sexual assault shit. Like, I mean, I mentioned it, but like,
Mm-hmm.
even as a guy, other dudes that are creepy. Like you could
Mm-hmm.
see men, like, women think it's bad. And I'm never gonna like, oh, how could you say that? Like, I'm not that kind of guy. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't give, like, I would, if he was violating, I would say something. But if men
Mm-hmm.
say shit, and even as a man, sometimes you're like, God damn, like, chill, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so we know who's creepy also. So that makes a lot of sense.
Right. I put
We know
the
who
guys
probably
that
shouldn't
say
be left
friends
alone
in
with
the
a
same
stripper. Like,
stipulation as the female though, because like if this guy is aggressive to be acting like this in a room full of males towards a female, then more than likely he's the guy anyway. He's the top guy anyway. Ain't nobody gonna do anything about that situation except for the girls need to immediately go. And it's like,
and I
okay,
just
we
want to
can't
be
say
clear.
how a person feels, but right now, since everybody's being so alert and so awake to these things happening, then no, it shouldn't be a problem for you to be able to immediately go and say this thing has happened to you, to somebody, be it an HR, be it the police, be it
No, that's a
whoever.
fact. And that's why I just wanted to say, let me be clear. I joke a lot on this podcast, and we talk a lot about a lot of crazy shit. But nobody should ever feel like, even if you're a woman who gets a little money for having sex, if you felt like like, if you guys had, listen, that shit is an arrangement. That's not like rape. That's not any of that other shit. And if
It's not
nobody's forcing this woman to do that for real, that's her choice. I'm not here to judge. I'm never here to judge. So, but even if she agrees to take $200 for an hour, and the guy gets there and he's mad aggressive, she should call the police on him. Like, no, this motherfucker's bugging. She shouldn't have to feel like, well, that's just the game. I'm just in this world. Like, even that situation,
No,
I'm
not
not
at
for
all.
that shit. I think because creepy guys are worse than anything a drug dealer could do. You know what I'm saying? I mean, easily regular shit a
It's
drug dealer
really
could do.
fact because like that's other thing because like the creepy guy is not a voluntary thing. Like the drug is voluntary, and you
No, that's
have
a
the
fact.
choice to take shit like that. When it comes down to like sexual harassment, that's like being pressed up upon. Like that's being like forced to serve a nigga. Like I've never seen an instance where you just give some shit to a nigga that
No,
force
true.
them to serve it. You know what I mean? Like that don't work. So like that's a whole different thing with these guys. Like it's crazy. Like Russell Simmons, this one, that one, and it's like and these instances with some males and I see it. Like I've seen it happen where like a girl she usually comes and chills. You know what I mean? And just this
Yeah.
particular instance she don't want to. She just want to come and hang out. Well, it's like if you ain't a hoe, get up at my trap house. Like I seen these things, and it's like it doesn't matter. So that's a
And you know what's
whole
crazy?
type of thing.
That's
So
that's a real like if I'm in a room with a guy, well, if I'm in
mhm
a room with like four guys, right, and well, let's say like seven guys, because that's when it gets weird. Like four
mhm
dudes, two girls is like that shit happens. When it's like eight dudes and two
mhm
girls, that's when shit
mhm
gets really tricky. So if a dude was like, "Yo, get up out my," if you ain't a hoe, get up out my trap house, and I would look at the nigga like, really, but I would rather him do that than really feel
mhm.
like, nah, listen, if y'all in here, y'all gotta,
No, that's the
somebody
best
gotta
thing.
fuck.
That's
If
a
that
real
and
nigga
that's it.
right there. That's a realist nigga right there. He tell you not, you should leave shorty because you're not down. You're not. You know what I mean?
I would respect that 100. Like I would be like, damn, my G. Like, and we'd laugh about, not laugh about it, but I'm saying like, I'd rather that, and I wouldn't want them to be like, he made me feel like I'm like, no, I respect that. I think like that's what should happen to make the lines clear. Like I
Mhm.
would be like, look, hold on, if
Not
girls came in
when
and
it comes
look,
down to that though. It'd be like, really though, what are you doing here other than to like
right.
peep my
Like, look,
game
if
or
you
still
girls, if
fucking?
they came here to smoke or some shit and they smoked and they're like, we're gonna go now, cool. Don't feel like you need, don't, like, so I wanted to make those lines crystal clear because we get into some
Mhm.
shit and we had to let the people, we had to say all that to say all this and let people know, like, listen, our lines
Yeah.
are very clear. We talk about, I would rather, if you did coke, I'd be like, do coke, bro. But if you fucking creep down on women, I cannot be involved in that. I would not be affiliated with
No.
that in any way, shape, or
No.
form. Like, fam,
It's
nah.
a space for that. These guys should be paid. Like it's a space for that. It's a bona fide space for that type of play and a female to make money, and you don't have to worry about that type of thing happening. It's like bona fide things for these guys just to be, or for like a power struggle. Like no, it's money, power, respect. They all equal. Like so,
What you,
you
what
gotta
do you
give it
think?
out. Like if you got,
I didn't
there's guys
expect
out
this
there
from
that
Russell
pay every
Simmons. I
day
gotta say,
for, huh?
I didn't expect this from Russell Simmons. I gotta say.
I don't expect nothing less from none of these
But
niggas,
but
to be
now, like,
honest.
that's what. Yeah, I also want to compound that. Say, like
But I can
now, at this
see,
point, I'm not
yeah,
surprised at anything.
yeah, no.
Obama is
But
the
it's
only
like
thing we got
I
left.
understand somebody power struggle. It'd be like, bitch, like, do you know? Like, do you know, like, who I am type shit? And it's like, yeah, we do. We're not fucking with you like that. And it's like, as a female, you shouldn't have to feel like, I gotta do this just because she's representing my whole life is on the line here. That's really crazy. So
Now,
it's like,
do you ever like if you're doing you doing a deal with somebody, you see him like like you get in the car. Do you ever feel like guys do that? Like they treat you different because you're a woman? Like, oh, so maybe we can work something else out, or what you doing tonight? Or do they text you weird shit? Because I don't. That obviously doesn't happen.
no, because what particularly in that, what be on the line is at a different level where like, look, it's just, you couldn't come across nothing like that would just fuck. Everybody knows this. Like everybody does their own thing, and it wouldn't be. No, I haven't had that in that instance. Not with that. No.
Let me ask you this also, since we're back on the subject of
Mhm.
politics.
All right.
Countries like the Netherlands or like Portugal. I
Mhm.
don't know about Switzerland. I think Switzerland, but or even states like, well, I'll use those countries first because I want to. It's a two-part question. Like then they say as soon as they legalize drugs in those countries, like anything goes, no drug, not legalize drugs, but they don't prosecute it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They focus on like fucking harm reduction. They're just worried about the violence of it. But as far as doing drugs, they don't kick in your door and raid your trap house. They just do you, fam. You know, so in places like that, how do you think the drug dealers, like I'm curious on what, if it's still a market in it. Is it always going to be a market in it? Because I feel like even then, it's still going to be fucked up.
And so it's going to be a market for anything that they just don't make accessible. And look, it's a market for the things that they make, and it's just accessible. Just like, you know, the whole thing with the pharmaceutical industry and the trade right now, like that's something that y'all just produced and put out there. And, you know, now it's a big problem. Like y'all are literally putting it out there.
Yeah,
and calling it a problem at the same time. So
I think the government cut out the middleman at this point. Like the government, that's why, you see states legalizing marijuana.
They haven't, because with that, like they don't understand the beast they created, like that.
But that's why I say they cut out the middleman, because I think they do. Like they know. Like, because like you said, they calling it a problem, and
they didn't cut out the middleman. They actually made more middlemen. They actually made more entrepreneurial type of thing and this and the third, because they gave someone said, listen, oh, you need this more than me. Like you,
as Nori would say, you killed that. Like, because that's a fact. They did definitely create more middlemen.
So I swear to God, Nori, like, kill me every drink chance. It don't make no sense to me.
You definitely made a valid point that.
Thank you.
They really created more middlemen, because they know, they have to know, like, listen, these people are gonna do these fucking drugs. We now, instead of because they used to be like, people are gonna do drugs, there's always gonna be drug dealers, now let's arrest the drug dealers. They basically put a lab coat on you, gave you a PhD, and gave you the power to be a drug dealer. It's the same shit. If you see a guy coming into your pharmacy, you could kind of tell. Like, I could tell a creep. You could tell a drug user. Like, all right, this bitch.
The level that they're dealing with is
like,
not even that. Like, the only reason they're turning you down at a pharmacy is because they already got a back-end scam going, where they're part of a mill that this doctor is sending it straight to you at the pharmacy, and you're just taking care of his people. And the regular person who's not in on the scam, the elderly person, the this, that, the third, that really needs to get their stuff and find their medication for that month, is not even able to do that.
Wow.
It's really nuts when it comes down to that part of the game. Like the regular person out here can't get medication on time, the one that needed doing that really work every day and doing it, not just out here fucking around and stuff. It's just crazy.
Wow, like, I didn't know that was a thing. But as soon as you said it, it made sense that you go and they turn you down, and you may get an anonymous phone call. Like, if you're looking for Xanax, call, and somebody will connect you. Like, come down to a doctor, he'll write you the prescription for however much, $350, $450, whatever it's gonna cost you, you can get it. And I'm gonna tell you some crazy shit. There's a lady, she'll remain anonymous. I didn't see. I don't know how to say it without snitching. Like, she basically had like I'll just make it long. I'll just tell you. Like, she had like a candy jar of pills of painkillers. Like, in her living room is a candy jar of painkillers. Like, yo, what you need? You're not like a candy bowl, like full. Whatever you need is in there. So
magnificent.
and she's an elderly woman, so she's not going, and she's not getting it from like a guy on the street. She's using her Medicare and whatever else, and she's going to her fucking doctor, and her doctor is serving her up. Like, her doctor is prescribing it. She's going to pick it up at the pharmacy and going home. So it's the same process. Like, they know.
Right. She's like, she got the things going where she's probably been on their program at the height of this shit, that she's still getting it, at a level where, that if you're trying to be like new in it, they're not even gonna give it to you right now.
Right.
Whatever, any one of those things that's in her bowl, they're not gonna give it to you right now. Short of you damn near killing yourself or something like that, like
Sure.
physically, like
But
hurt,
she
hit
was
by
like
a car.
grandfathered in
Yeah,
to
it's
the
crazy.
system.
And I
Like
need
she
her
gets
number.
110 or some shit a month.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So let me ask. No, so now in states like California or Colorado, or even I think Jersey is next to legalize recreational weed. I believe. Don't quote me on that. That may be podcast facts. Don't quote me on that. But definitely Colorado. Obviously, we know. Like you go. It's like you go into a 7-Eleven and pick up a fucking honey bun. You can go into a dispensary and pick up some weed. I've done it in California. It was easy as literally picking out candy. So what happens to the weed dealers? And do the weed dealers, because not everyone just has the money to open up a dispensary. It's not going to be that easy. We're going to be honest. So what happens? Like, how do they transition into today's world?
Well, it's crazy because like on some East Coast thing, you could still be all right if you still get West Coast bud, like but from Colorado or something, like nothing that you could be able to grow here. I feel on the coast is gonna be as good as that anyway. So like the level would change because even they got they got medical in Philly, and that weed is trash. like the medical weed on the East Coast is trash from what I've been seeing in Delaware. There be a lot of strains available, but there's trash. Like it's not the same. So
I actually wanted to mention that before and I forgot. I'm glad you brought it back up. Like that's what annoys me the most about weed dealers. I swear that's my one fucking, I don't want to call it a pet peeve, but my one like thing that just drives me over the edge with weed dealers is when they're like, oh, this is that Cali, this is that fucking Afghan Kush, this is that sour diesel, and you get the shit and you're like, bro, this is dirt. Like you get home, you be hype, and then you smoke the weed, and you feel lightheaded.
That will never happen to you fucking with me. I do not play that type of game.
But that's what sent me to like really be like, you know what? I'm gonna find a real fucking dealer. Like I'm gonna find a real dude who can give me my little fucking these little fucking things, my little pen. I want to know exactly what strain it is. I want to know exactly what the fuck I'm getting. So that's really what sent me to it. Is that maybe if I met you, I wouldn't be trying to look for a marijuana license, like because it would just be.
No, I would tell you still get the license though. Still get the license. Meet your quota, but still get your weed from me because that weed is not gonna do it. But at least if you get pulled over, you got your things together, or this, that, the third. It's less of a hassle. Like if they're trying to introduce stuff like that,
you're more than like you an advisor. You a life coach. You can get you what you want. Odd jobs for odd people.
Thank you. That's why. So it is what it is. I'm like, damn, get it, please. Like
Do you ever worry about like? Well, I feel like I know the answer. So you're smarter than this, but I guess I'm gonna just ask for the podcast. Like, do you ever feel like worried about like the police, or worried about somebody snitching, or do you just operate freely because you seem smart? So I'm sure
I operate as smart as possible. I know the possibility is there, and I know the possibility is there, so I'm always on the lookout for that. But I try to keep everything as clean, cut, and dry as possible. Like, I might have more things might go through my hands, and like at the end of the day, I have absolutely nothing in my hands but money. Like, so I try to keep everything clean, cut,
and how do you
and dry, and scheduled and tight. Like you said, we was doing midnight and stuff like that. I keep running like 15 to 20 minutes behind on you, but I be there like.
No, but you know what? That's normal. Like that just happens, and that would happen with a regular 9 to 5 job. Like, and you know what's crazy? We were 15, and if we were 15 minutes behind, we were on schedule to me because
Right, that's cool then.
but because by the time I came down, forgot my charger, had to go back, so that's
It's
going
all
to
good.
happen either way.
Well, yes, I can respect that though. But
Do you
that's how
worry
I
about
decided to.
do you worry about taking losses? Because even if
Yes, you gotta
I
plan
was looking
for
at this shit that with
you
the
gotta plan for
California
love.
wildfires that's happening right now, there's I forget the number. There was but there's been millions of dispenser of grow fields, millions of dollars of weed just burned up from the fires. And
Wow.
there's no crop insurance because marijuana is still a Schedule I drug, technically, federally in California. So
I wanna I wanna
there's no
openly
crop
laugh at them
insurance.
real quick. That shit is crazy to me. And dag, that set them back. Like,
Yeah, no,
wow.
that shit. There's no crop insurance, so they can't even claim it. They're just dead on it. So even if you were doing things 100% the right way, 100%
Something like
legally,
that, yeah.
you're still at a risk of taking a loss, and that's why drugs are crazy to me. I mean, but it's because it's business. Like in
Yes.
business, no matter what you do, you're still at risk of taking a loss. Like the world, Amazon could change your world, even in business. You know what I'm saying? So
Everybody don't deal with business. Everybody is not built for that. Some people prefer and can find a niche and just working and doing it on the 5 and not taking the risk with their money and go and flourish. And some people is pride themselves on doing the exact opposite. Where you got to be like that. You got to do that. But that's crazy. That changes a lot of dynamics out that way with their dispensaries and stuff like that. And something like that wouldn't affect the street at all. It's like if the right street person um, got up with one of these dispensaries that's about to be starving out there because of the fucking fire, they would do all right. Like it's like and that wouldn't affect the street at all because that's somebody's multi-acreage that they done stole from some place out there anyway that they just go and bust freely to try. So it's you. And the prices in the dispensaries is crazy to me. That's another thing that if you're somebody who buys quantity, you don't really need to deal with the dispensary. You just need to have your papers, you know what I mean? Your shit legit with that. But that's
so,
not going to affect the hood not one bit, those fires.
so let me ask you. You seem smart and you got we talk and you have you have that which I admire the most about you, like that hustler's mentality. Like when I say something like I talk about the dispensary and you're like, listen, all you got to do is link up with the right person, you'll be all right. There's always drugs to be sold. So so you really have that mindset of like, look, we're gonna get it done either way.
Right.
Do you look into transitioning into something with a little more paperwork, or you're happy with your life how it is? You're not complaining.
No, I'm actually at the point where I'm trying to see what's gonna work and how to transition properly into it. Even though I do things now and I try to get people around me to do things now that's solid that you can lean back on and stuff like that. I am trying to transition, like 100% trying to transition out of it, and it's just like this is not one of those things that could just like be passed over to a person. So it's like, trust me, I've tried to find my replacement because that's exactly what you just did, and I cannot. Don't know how to have that.
I think you should open.
Yes,
I want you to open up. I want you to open up the United States' first casino that sells bud.
That would be amazing.
I don't know. I got to tell the people this because I think it's crazy that you're not. I think it's crazy because I'm a gambler, so I think it's ill that you're a certified blackjack, poker, and what else? Craps dealer, right?
Craps, blackjack, and poker. Yes, I could do all three. I prefer to do house games. That's what I do. I actually did that to do it on a cruise ship because I said, oh, wow, you could take this class. It's 8 months. And after that, I could go on a cruise ship and deal. I don't have to pay anything anywhere. And I could do that and stack up my money and stuff like that. So that's how I got into that. Not even off of what you might think. I got into that a whole different purpose and stuff like that. Just trying to get money hustle out. So
that makes a lot of sense. If you're at the table, you know, and you deal and you're like, hey man, you know, or they may bring it up like, just don't want to go home alone tonight, and you'll be like, well, you don't have to, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, you're on the boat. Like you're on
yeah,
the boat. You got these long tours. They was telling like, you be out for this certain amount of weeks and you keep your tips and a whole bunch of shit like that. I was like, okay, yeah, I'll do that, no problem. So
yeah.
it's crazy. I did a lot of legit stuff. I do mad legit stuff right now.
Listen,
That's
I'm
another
gonna
thing.
tell you,
It's like,
I'm gonna tell you, this is. I know. I don't know if this is your first time doing a podcast,
it
but
is. Thank you
is
so
it?
much for that. Yes, most
Absolutely.
definitely. Like, thank you
I
so
think
much
you
for
should
that.
start your own. I think you have good podcast material. Like I think you.
Hey, yeah, you have blessed
I
me
would,
so
because I
much.
know personally, I would be interested in your weekly story. Like I'd be very curious to know how your week went if you talked about it for an hour and a half on a podcast. I know.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much. I was
I'm being
really
serious.
considering that too, though. But yes, this is my first experience with being on podcasts, and I just like thank you so much that when we reached out with each other, we connected, and like you cool as fuck. Like I like what you do, and keep on what you do. I like your style, so
Because
I'm watching
Taxstone is
you.
gone, so somebody got to pick up the slack.
It's crazy because a lot of people tell me that, and it's like I want to do that, and I want to work for that type of thing though because like I live that shit too, and but I'm trying to figure out how to bring something a little bit more to the table than me just
No, I
coming out
got you.
there like
I'm with
that.
you, but
So because
I'm
it,
just saying, listen, because there's money in that too. I mean, it
and,
takes, but like you said, it's all about who you know.
yeah, that's right.
You know what I'm saying? Because one week you may, I don't know, all it takes is one shot and you get 1 million subscribers. A guy like fucking Joe Rogan makes like, I don't know, $450,000 a week. Joe Budden, who knows what he's pulling in these days, but it got to be upward of $1 million from just talking, from just
The
giving,
real
telling you
reason,
how he feels about something.
when it
I was
comes
like,
down
what
to
a time to be alive.
podcasts. I love that medium. Like, it's such a good space for anybody and everybody that's, will want to be heard or, just trying to vent a little bit. There's a lot of just opportunity in that field just to do so much stuff. And I was considering do it. I have been asked by a couple of people to do certain things, and anybody who do deal with me know that when it comes down to entrepreneurial stuff, like if I know you got a podcast, I know that if something comes along, I'm like, hey, this is gonna work out for King. Let me send it to him real quick. Like I'm that type of person. Or it's
Nah,
like I'm listening.
I definitely appreciate that. You said, come fuck with Death Row. I was like,
Right. Yes. You know what I mean?
yeah, that's a
So
fact.
I got it on the one-on-one, which is real cool. So I respect
Listen,
it. It's a lot.
Trap, I appreciate having you on the podcast. I'm telling you, this is a beautiful thing. And for those listening, don't worry, she'll be back. Make sure you go subscribe, kingbochrist.com. I'm on everything. Spotify, Tidal, you name it. But most importantly, easier, go to your fucking podcast app, go to search, type in King Bo Christ or the I Said I'd Say This podcast. I'm right there, subscribe. That's easier than going to these streaming services. Trap, you just made
Yes.
you global now. That you global.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. Salute.
Shout out
King.
to my listeners in London.
Oh,
Listen,
wow. You take stand up. I be listening to that grime shit, too. I'm all over the place, baby.
that's a fact. Listen, listeners, I love you all. If you learned anything today, is that there's always, where there's a will, there's a way, and there's a person that's willing to get the job done. I love you all. Have a day you deserve. I'm out.